Hey, this is John Sifferman from johnsifferman.com, where I teach real-world strength training. Got a question from one of my readers named John. He's 6'3" tall, and he's having trouble achieving a really deep squat depth. So here's some tips for increasing your squat depth. But first, some definitions. There's 3 different squat depths in my mind. The first is a quarter squat, where you're just squatting down very shallow. I see this a lot in the gyms. This isn't really a true squat. It's not a very full range of motion. This doesn't count for anything in a weightlifting competition. So try to avoid these very shallow quarter squats. I also see a lot of squatting on top of the knees. We don't squat on top of our legs. We squat between our legs. See how I'm squatting down here really deep? I'm not squatting on top of my legs here, but I see it a lot in the gym. So the second squat depth is the powerlifting squat depth, and that's just breaking parallel with the ground with these thighs, just breaking a 90-degree angle here at the knees. This is the powerlifting squat depth. Great for building strength in the legs. Again, you want to do this under control. So that's the powerlifting squat depth. The third depth is the rock bottom squat, also known as the deck squat. And this is the deepest squat depth. This is when your hamstrings are resting on your calves right here. Your butt is right next to the ground. Your pelvis is tucked underneath, and you're real deep here. So this is the rock bottom squat, or the deck squat. Hardest one to achieve. It's a feat of strength for a lot of people. And for those of you who are taller, probably 6 feet or taller, this is going to be a difficult movement for you. See, the taller you are, usually the longer your femur bone right here is. So you're at a leverage disadvantage. Essentially, if you have longer femurs, your torso is going to be back further behind you. And if you have a weight on your back, that's going to pull you back even more, making it very difficult to achieve this rock bottom squat. You'll have a tendency to squat down and then what? Rock forward onto your balls of feet. So there's a few things you can do to prevent this. Number one, if you've been squatting with loads on your back, like a barbell back squat, try putting the load on the front of your torso now. So doing an Olympic style front squat, or just crossing your arms, racking dumbbells on your shoulders, or kettlebells, sandbags, club bells, doesn't matter. Put the load in front of you so you improve your leverage advantage when you're squatting, because it's going to hold you forward. Number 2, practice assistance when you're doing a rock bottom squat. So grab onto anything. It could be a Smith machine, a squat rack, a railing at your house. I'm using a tree here. And what you do is you reach down as far as you can go, and as soon as your feet start to rock up onto the balls of your feet, stop. So if I'm coming down here and I can feel they want to rise up, that's my range of motion. I'm going to go down to there. I'm going to try and shave away the tension so that I have a full range of motion there and not allow my feet to rock up like this. That's number 2. Number 3, you need to really focus on improving the mobility of your hips and your lumbar spine. So I want to see you doing big hip circles in both directions, small pelvic circles. You're going to look like a hula dancer. 5 to 8 repetitions here, once or twice a day is great. So many benefits to doing these mobility exercises, besides, let alone increasing your squat depth. I'd also like to see some full lower back spinal mobility exercises. So you kind of start from a fully folded position, reach back almost to a side bend, and you're going to go all the way back to the side and back forward. Make sure you always do both directions. Slower is better than faster. Again, 5 to 8 repetitions. Last but not least, there are a lot of different exercises that you can be doing for legs, for lower body training, for total body training. The squat's a great exercise, but definitely don't feel limited if you cannot achieve the full range of motion deck squat. If you can only get to here, that's great. You can train some excellent strength with this exercise, just going to the powerlifting depth. But there's so many different exercises out there. The squat's just one of them. We sort of put it on a pedestal here in America, but there's so much out there. Lunges, step-ups, Bulgarian split squats, pistols, other single leg squats, swings. There's just, the list goes on and on. So don't feel limited if you can't achieve the full range of motion squat. Practice it with assistance, build the mobility in your hips and your spine. But if you can't get it, forget about it. If you're tall, it just means that the exercise might not be right for you, but there's so many other exercises out there that you could be using. So this is John Sifferman from johnsifferman.com. Be strong, be well.